So, guess who wants to fire Gary Gensler? The Hinman documents will be releasing today. If not, maybe it's already released. I haven't seen it yet. But this could be huge and could have put a big blow towards SEC and Gary Gensler. The SEC fought very, very, very hard to keep these documents sealed, not releasing them to the public. Because if it does, basically it's too late now. It is going to be released, but their original thinking was this is going to cause a lot of confusion and make it harder for the SEC to basically determine what's a security and what's not, because they wanted to be able to control that narrative. They don't want the public. They don't want other projects to be able to use actually what was discovered in here in terms of what is a security and what's not, specifically pertaining to Ethereum, which was declared by Hinman, a previous director, to be a non-security, to be a commodity, right? But what was his thoughts behind that? What made him conclude that? SEC did not want anyone else to know, right? Just like right now, Gary does not want to answer if ETH is a security. So this should be absolutely huge. Brad Garlinghouse said it himself, right? We waited 18 months, and I believe it's well worth the wait. Basically, there will be a lot that's coming out of here, and this should allow Ripple to finally win the case and allow other projects to defend themselves. Okay? Right now, SEC made a lot of accusations against projects like Cardano and Polygon and Solana and so forth. Have not sued them directly yet. But with the Hinman documents out, these guys could all start preparing for legal battle if it comes down to that. And it's going to make the SEC think twice about suing, because they don't want another Ripple situation where it makes them look like absolute idiots. Well, today you have someone that's not really pleased with Gary over what he has been doing. Even beforehand, there were many that does not like what Gary is doing or what he represents, and just really killing innovation. So today you have Congressperson out of Ohio, Warren Davidson, said that today I filed the SEC Stabilization Act to restructure the SEC and to #fire Gary Gensler. U.S. capital markets must be protected from a tyrannical chairman, including the current one. It's time for real reform and fire Gary Gensler as chair of SEC. Okay? And this is what he's proposing. So not only to fire him, but to propose this. Okay? Rather than have one guy, this is from Warren Davidson, by the way. This was not created by anyone on Twitter. This is created by Warren Davidson. So rather than have the old structure, which is you have a guy on top and all these commissioners, and we have commissioners that disagree with Gary, but it doesn't matter because Gary has the last say, right? So he's like acting like king, basically. Okay, rather than have that structure, let's have a different structure where you have commissioners, you have people, oversight people, that executive director of the SEC would report to. But he would have to have consent, right? This makes sense. Look at corporations. Even a CEO has to report to a board. The board can remove the CEO at any time. It works in the private sector. Why can't it work with the SEC, right? So that way, you don't have to worry about a tyrant like Gary Gensler. I think this is a good plan. And you know what? Gary done a lot of conferences before, a lot of speaking events. Okay, here's one. Let's listen to this one real quick. Let me get my sound going here. Let's play this real quick.
Over 70% of the crypto market is Bitcoin, Ether, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash. Why did I name those four? They're not securities.
Okay, so Gary said it himself many times. Ethereum is not a security. So why would he be so anti-Ethereum now? There are others where he has said the same thing about Algorand, who he loved. Now he has declared Algorand a security, right? I don't know. I bet people, if they keep looking for some of these other speeches, he may have said the same thing about Cardano, how he loves Cardano and it's not a security, and now somehow it is. Again, a lot of backtracking, a lot of 180. Okay, so that's the situation. And right now there is a turf war too between the CFTC and SEC. Gary, again, the tyrant at top, wants to do whatever he wants. CFTC, another U.S. agency, is like, no, you can't do that. We also play responsibility with safeguarding users and providing regulations for certain entities, right? Commodities. But if you declare everything as security, and of course CFTC has nothing to regulate. So Brian Armstrong is saying, yeah, that's why there's a turf war going on, right? And even the House Republicans look to referee the CFTC SEC crypto turf war, because again, there is a turf war, and SEC, Gary Gensler, is declaring everything as security. Well, how convenient. If that's the case, then everything is ruled by the SEC, not CFTC, right? So now, at least the House is trying to come up with a way to come up with a framework, right, that fairly divides the policing power to both agencies. Right? And since the lawsuit, Binance.US not looking good. Market depth declined 76%, mostly because banks have refused to work with Binance.US anymore. So it has dropped quite a lot. And even Binance said that SEC, they filed a temporary restraining order to lock all assets. If that was successful, Binance.US would go under, right? That's pretty serious. So in order to make sure that doesn't happen, they enlisted some all-star lawyer that used to work for the SEC, worked for a long time in the SEC, and they will, of course, fight this. I'm hoping they fight until the very end, until Gary gets removed and the SEC loses. Gary to win. Even Blackrock warns that U.S. is lagging in innovation. For BlackRock to say this, well, that's pretty serious. And it's having effect. Polygon, which was also named a security recently, they said, hey, Polygon 2 will be developed and deployed outside the U.S. because they don't want to deal with all the shenanigans, right? There's just so many of it. But you know what? The good thing is, like I've been saying, crypto is not secluded in the U.S. Crypto is worldwide. So even though Gary is throwing his weight around in the U.S., we have pushback. We have people that are fighting it. But in the meantime, crypto is thriving worldwide. And